Welcome back to our Profit Era, where we talk about all things money, mindset, and business. It's your host, Cindy, your fractional CFO and financial bestie. And today I had the opportunity to speak with Jaime, the founder of Black Harbour Distillers. If her name and her business sounds familiar, it's because you might have seen her on season 20 of Dragon's Den. Now, what I love about Jaime's story is that she grew up in a family where connection and storytelling were part of everyday life. Her dad and her grandpa have been part of the liquor industry, and that is what taught her about dedication, integrity, and what quality really looked like. At just 18 years old, she knew she didn't want just a job. She wanted to build something that had meaning. And a few years later, on a humanitarian trip to the Dominican Republic, she found inspiration that would shape her life's work, standing in sugarcane fields, watching rum being made from start to finish, and realizing that she could create something with purpose, community, and heart. That moment eventually became Black Harbour Distillers, a Nova Scotia based craft distillery known for its smooth spirits, ethical sourcing, and a deep sense of pride in doing the things right way. In today's episode, Jaime talks about what it was like pitching her company on Dragon's Den, the lessons she learned once the camera stopped rolling. She also shares her experience on how she built her business and what the plans are for Black Harbour Distillers. So grab your coffee or maybe even a cocktail and let's get into it. Hi, Jaime. Thank you for joining me on her Profit Era today. I'm so
Thanks for having
excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
How did you start like Black Harbour Distillers?
Yeah, so it kind of is a little bit of a background story. It started originally, my passion and kind of interest in the distilling world came from my grandfather who made moonshine. And he passed away when I was born, but through family stories, there was always that tradition and sharing how he made moonshine. And I was always fascinated by those stories that my father or uncle would tell. And then in my grade 12 year of high school, I went on a humanitarian trip to Dominican. They took us to a sugarcane field to kind of work all day, didn't tell us anything, and then took us right from the sugarcane field to a distillery. And I was just fascinated by the process of like the raw product to the distilling. And in particular, like how much passion the employees had to like bring these bottles to life. So I came home and I like did a bunch of research, but I was only 18 at the time, and
Wow.
the legal drinking age in Nova Scotia is 19. And I was starting my first year university, so like I kind of pushed it off to the side and thought whatever.
Yeah,
And then it really kind of began in my first year at Dalhousie. I took the business program, and we had to write a business plan based on any business. And I decided to write it on Black Harbour or the distillery. I didn't have the name at the time, but I
yeah,
decided to write it on starting a distillery because I knew that I had like the passion. And in the back of my head, I always wanted to start a business after I graduated university. So I thought this would be like good practice, not
right.
necessarily going out and doing it, but yeah.
That is so cool. And like, is your family involved in your business or is it just you solely running it?
So I 100% own Black Harbour, but I wouldn't be here without my family's support. They'll always be down to help me, whether it's labeling or setting up for events. Um, the building that Black Harbour actually sits in is a family-owned business. So we bought this building as a family in 2019, right after I started Black Harbour, to become the home of Black Harbour. But throughout the years, my sister opened an ice cream shop in the building. We've had different like
Wow.
family ventures. So it's really family oriented, and my family supports a lot. But the actual Black Harbour business is just mine.
And you're the one of the youngest licensed distillers in Canada, which is so cool.
Yeah, it so what happened, I was writing this business plan when I was 18. And I thought I want to take like I want to do this for real. So I thought on my 19th birthday I would submit all my applications. So I headed right down to the CRA office where I'd get my permits. I submitted my business plan, and from there started the longer process of getting all the applications and permits. But yeah, they told me that I was one of Canada's youngest licensed distillers because I mean, I had it 3 or 4 months after I turned 19.
That's so impressive.
Yeah, I moved fast.
And I know you talked about how like you grew up playing Dragon's Den, you've been watching the show. So what was it like applying to get on the show and like having your pitch heard?
Yeah, so it's honestly it's still kind of surreal because like you said, I used to like force my younger sister and best friend to literally like set up pencils and erasers and like pitch the products, and we would play the whole game. And I mean, I grew up just always watching the show. Never, even when I started my business, I never thought like, oh, I'm gonna go on Dragon Center. I want to do that.
Yeah.
Um, and then honestly, what happened is my manager here at Black Harbor received an email that asked from one of the producers asking if I was ever interested to go on the show. And we thought it was like a
Oh,
scam or like a hack. Like we're like, this is not real. They wouldn't reach
yeah.
out. But I was like, I got nothing to lose. So I replied back, and I literally my reply back was like, oh my gosh, I used to play Dragon's Den as a kid. I would love to apply. So I submitted my application. Didn't really think much of it at the original like application. I didn't even put my numbers that I ended up saying on the show because I was like, oh, there's no way. Like it just
Yeah.
didn't feel like it was somewhere I was gonna do, or like it was so far from what I imagined. And then they asked me, so I sent the application in, and then they asked for a Zoom call. So I set up at my bar, and I went through like an hour with two of the producers. They asked some questions. I basically told my story. And then I think like 3 weeks later, they asked if they could ask a couple follow up questions. So I think I was down in the warehouse labeling. I'm like,
Oh,
sure.
wow.
I get on the call, and they're like, how would your best friend and sister feel if you told them you're going to be on Dragon's Den? And it didn't even like, I was like, what?
Okay.
I started freaking out. And it was really cool. Like, I mean, my parents were the first people I called to say, like, I'm going to be on Dragon's Den. And they couldn't even believe it. They're like, there's no way this is real. And then I think about a month later, myself, fiance, and my dad flew up to Toronto so I could go in and pitch in real life.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it was a really like fast, and I think because I didn't expect it, it just felt so surreal. But I think like in business this whole time, like when opportunities come up, I didn't want to pass on it. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go for it.
What was the timeline between like when you pitched to versus when it was aired on TV? Because I know you were just on like season 20.
Yeah. So I went up and I actually pitched on Mother's Day. So like early May. Signed something so I could not say like what happened in the den.
Yeah.
And then it didn't air until October 9th. So it was like a long
Wow.
time of just like kind of holding this excitement slash
Yeah.
nerve of seeing how it was gonna come out. So yeah, it was a while.
It must have been so hard to like keep it as a secret and not tell anybody.
It was because we were allowed to say like I posted that we went up there, and I gave like behind the scenes in the sense of like I wanted to share with my like followers that like, oh my god, we're up here. So then of course when I came back, everyone's like, what happened? Like is what's Black Harbor now? So it
Yeah.
was hard, and I just kept being like, we're gonna have to wait and see. And I mean even I had to wait and see. Like I didn't see the episode until it came out with everyone else. So it was definitely nerve wracking.
That's so exciting. You almost like relived it twice.
Yeah. I was like, I think I was actually more nervous watching it because we did a watch party at Black Harbor, and I
Yeah.
think we had about like 150 um like customers come, which was like that left me more speechless than walking into the
Aw.
den. And I think I was more nervous watching it with them than I was heading into the den, which is wild.
How is like the whole experience like being on the den and like pitching? Because I know like I just attended like the Calgary's anniversary event and
Right.
the Dragons mentioned like the pitch itself is so much longer than what they actually show on TV.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like my on TV, I think it was like 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, I was in there speaking to the dragons for about an hour.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's like a long time.
Yeah.
Um, and like not even that, even prior to it, like I headed to the studio at 7 a.m. You kind of wait around until your name is called. There's not much you can do. You just stay in there. And so like I got there at 7 a.m. I didn't go into the den until around noon, and
Oh,
then I was in
wow.
for an hour, and then after they like do post interviews with you. So it's a I was tensed up all day like waiting for it. Yeah, it's a lot longer. And I think another thing that like threw me off is like you see it on TV and like I mean, obviously, you don't see all the lights and cameras behind you. So, like,
Yeah.
in my head, I'm thinking, oh, it's not going to be that big of a production. Like, I'll just walk into this room and they're going to be there.
Yeah.
But the lights and cameras, like, it was insane and, like, the shiny black floor. The dragons are also, like, a lot further away from you. So you're kind of, like, presenting more than, like, talking to them at some points.
Right.
Um, but for me, I was like, you know what? This is like, I knew it was going to be around an hour that I'd be in there. I'm like, I just want to make sure I'm myself for like the 60 minutes so that, because I was scared. I'm like, I don't know if this is all going to throw me off and I'm going to be like a robot out there and then
Yeah.
people don't see the personality. So I'm like, I got nothing to lose. Let's just go do it.
Wow. It must have been like an exhausting but exciting day.
I didn't sleep much like leading up to it. And of course, I'm from Nova Scotia. So we like flew in the night before, barely slept, woke up at like 5 in the morning to keep practicing. And then
Yeah.
I think, but after it was like, for me, the experience was something that was like so out of my comfort zone. And that was a goal of mine. So, like, I knew that was something I wanted to accomplish. And on top of that, like the advice and feedback that was given, like it was more than just the show, which I thought was really cool.
You didn't end up with the deal, but Michelle said something like so inspiring. She said, like, don't lose your sparkle. Your energy is so special. And like that got me emotional. I was like cheering up. How was hearing that from her, like in the moment?
It was wild. Like I think in my head I hadn't expected that like I'm gonna go in there, it's gonna be like yes, no, goodbye,
Yeah.
like I didn't know what to expect, because you only see that 7 minutes. But
Right.
when Michelle said that, I think like it was a point that I almost started crying. I'm like, I didn't expect her to be so genuine and like actually have words of advice that isn't just like the basic like oh go out and do this or like keep working hard,
Yeah.
like the fact that she kind of like seen my personality and seen the passion behind it, and related to it, like we
Yeah.
see her up on this stage and like she's such a well-known entrepreneur and female leader. um it kind of took me back to see that like oh my god, she's been in my shoes before, like so that was
Yeah.
really cool.
It was also nice to hear Arlene say, like, you don't even need an investor. Like, trust what you're doing and run with it.
Yeah, that was that at that point I'm like, okay, perfect, just get me out of this thing right now. But I think that was because I think sometimes, especially as a female entrepreneur or a female in leadership, you sometimes second guess, like
Right.
if you need help, and especially like age, like I'm 25. So to hear her say like, no, you're on the right track, like you can do this on your own, getting that like extra boost of confidence was it was really nice to see that they recognize that.
Yeah.
Given like being a female entrepreneur and my age, that like showing that like I can still go out there and do that on my own.
That was, yeah, it was so inspiring to see. What happened like after the den? Like once you left there, you got the feedback. What changed in your business?
I think for me, it was just another like opportunity um to know that like I'm on the right track, and to continue with like the creativity side of our business that is sometimes lacking in the alcohol industry. Like we go pretty crazy on some of our flavors and products. And even, I mean, I get feedback all the time that our labels are like so out there compared to sometimes traditionally what you see.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it was just a nice reminder that like it might not be the label or the product that everybody wants, but there is definitely a demand out there for that creativity and uniqueness. Um, and yeah, so I think like it was a lot leaving, and I'm someone that can be hard on myself like right
Yeah.
when I leave. But I took like a half hour that day just to reflect on everything after it all kind of like was processed. And after I got all those nerves out and like the stress that I had built up, it definitely made me inspired to continue to keep like growing down this road with the like creativity of the products. And I think if anything, it just made me like realize that like I mean there's gonna be lots of no's in
Yeah.
business, and I've already experienced that. But like the no's don't mean a bad thing. And I mean like you try to remind yourself of that, but like this Dragon's Den experience, like from an outside perspective, it's like, oh my god, she got all no's, this is awful. But it's been one of the best experiences I've ever done to grow my business. It's got the name out there. I've gotten advice from like very successful entrepreneurs. And I don't think I'd want it any other way. So, I mean, for me, those no's are kind of just have pivoted me to continue to grow Black Harbor. Um, if that answers the question.
That does. Yeah, that's so inspiring. Could you share more about your products? Because they're so unique. And I think our listeners would like love hearing more about what differentiates Black Harbor versus like other distillers.
Yeah, so right now we currently produce 8 different flavored vodkas on site. We have 3 different rums, 2 gins. We have a vodka soda, and we also have our booze bags that are cocktails in a bag. And they'll be hitting online shopping soon. They right now we just sell them on site, but we're hoping to bring those across Canada. But what we've been kind of known for is our flavored vodkas. So that all started in 2020, right after COVID hit. I was online like scrolling TikTok a bunch, probably like addicted to it. And I noticed that in the States, there's a lot of different flavored, unique products that I couldn't find like in our local liquor store. And at this point, we had our 902 rum, which is a staple, and our blueberry vodka. Both of those are still like 2 top selling products. But we didn't have any. Then we had plain vodka, still does great, but we didn't have anything other than blueberry that was like crazy different. Uh, so I told my dad and now fiance, I was like, I want to come out with a cotton candy vodka. And both of them were like, that is disgusting. And at this point, it's COVID. So, like, we're not allowed to have any customers come into the distillery. Everything's like just, and I'm not online yet because, like, this is 6 months after we opened that COVID hit. So, like, I'm adjusting to like delivering local across Halifax and like just posting on social media. So I'm like, no, I think let's try it. So we're like, we'll just make a small batch. Like, I think we did like 300 bottles. And so we like make the liquor. I'm like, it tastes really good. This is gonna be fun. And my dad's like, nobody's gonna buy this. And then we labeled 3 bottles because I'm like, okay, if nobody's gonna buy this, we'll just label a couple. And I was super excited, so I posted it, and it's like prime COVID. So I post the picture of like the 3 bottles I had labeled, and then I go on like a dog walk because there's nothing else to do. And I get back and my phone has like blown up. Like I had calls from people in Spain, across the
Wow.
US, like all these people like commenting on our Facebook page. And so we instantly like drive down to the distillery about a half hour from my house. We start label and we're literally labeling and like giving the product out the door, like labeling and people are buying it. And they're
Wow.
not supposed to know, like it's COVID. So
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh my God, there's must be something here. So our cotton candy vodka was like the first one that made me realize like there's something for these unique flavors.
Yeah.
We ended up selling out of it in like 24 hours, and it was just me and my fiance like driving across Halifax to Dartmouth, like delivering it wherever we could. And then that hype continued for that summer. And so during the summer, I'm like thinking, I'm like, okay, what's going to be like the next product that is like unique and different? And my sister owned the ice cream shop at the time, and she kept running out of Moon Miss vodka, which anybody that's not like from Atlantic Canada, it sounds really weird, but it's bubblegum, grape, and banana. It's like the most popular ice cream flavor in Atlantic Canada, and she was selling out of it
Oh,
all the
wow.
time. So I'm like, okay, like maybe we try something with that, but like bubblegum, grape, and banana. I don't know if people are gonna want to like drink that in a vodka.
Yeah.
So it took us like a full year of taking like banana, bubblegum, and grape flavor. Like, we use like a pure extract to get like what would taste like the ice cream. And then before we were gonna release it, I was on social media and I saw this like girl put glitter in her drink, and I'm like, oh my god, I think this vodka. So we did a little bit of sparkle in it, and we released the Moon Mist vodka just to sell on site. I think we did like 2 batches of it,
Yeah.
and it sold out in 45 minutes. It was insane.
Wow.
People were like lined up down our parking lot. So then again, I kind of knew like, okay, there's something here. And with both these products, like there was a little bit of a like, oh my god, is this like a one hit wonder? But it was continuing like after it sold out, I think we did 610 pre-orders of it for the first one, and then continued to kind of like build up product for the demand. And now today, Moon Mist is our top selling product, along with the lobster vodka. That
Yeah.
was a really big on Dragon's Den. So lobster vodka was like a kind of a happy accident. I realized how good Moon Mist was doing, and a lot of it was like, I mean, off the bat, it's a pretty label. It sparkles. It catches people's eyes. But then I had a lot of people emailing, being like, "Oh my god, I'm from Nova Scotia and I moved out west, or I moved to Ontario, or and I want to bring a piece of home like back with
Aw.
me, or like I want to give this to a friend and all this stuff." So I'm like, okay, like the whole East Coast flavors is doing really well. Like a lot of people are buying it to like share their pride in East Coast flavors. So I'm like, what's another East Coast flavor? And my cousins are all lobster fishermen. So I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
this lobster like might be a good way to go. But I'm like, that's like there's someone must have done this, and but like it's kind of gross. I don't know. So
Yeah.
then my idea was like we were gonna do 1 batch of lobster vodka, and the whole idea was that it would like do well on social media because people would be so grossed out by it. So like in my
Yeah.
head, I thought like so many people would comment like this is disgusting that it would like have some type of viral effect.
Yeah.
Um, so we played around with it, and we used like different spices to get the lobster taste. And like just lobster vodka on its own, we're like, oh, I don't know. And then I'm
Mhm.
like, well, I only like lobster for the butter. So we started adding like butter extract in to kind of like try to like
Oh, wow.
replicate a meal. And then we're like, okay, the only drink you can drink with this is a Caesar. So we
Yeah.
were like, garlic goes well. So I'm like, okay, like a lobster butter garlic. So we released it. It stunk up the warehouse. We have to use like all different machine stuff just for lobster vodka. And I'm like, okay, everyone's gonna hate this. And like we posted it, and so many people were like, oh my god, I can't wait to try this. I'm like, what? And I
Wow.
wasn't a Caesar fan at the time. So I'm like, what are people gonna mix with this? So we released it. It did really good for like people that loved lobster. And then last year, it really took off on social media with influencers. We sent it to a couple like influencers who were making savory cocktails, which was like a huge thing on TikTok and Instagram. And that completely blew it up. There was an influencer named Logan who did like a seafood boil martini, and I reached out to him like, I think this would taste better with our lobster vodka. So I sent it up to him, and I was so nervous. I'm like, I don't know if he's gonna use it. I don't know. And like,
Yeah.
nicest guy ever. Posted a video of the lobster vodka in a drink, and the next morning we had 250 orders out of province just for lobster
Wow.
vodka. So it's definitely like those like unique flavors have definitely been a huge success, and I think our brand is now known for doing different things like that. So it's been cool.
Is the lobster vodka the one that Mario Lopez had shown?
Yeah. So and that was again like someone reached out on email saying they're like the producer of Access Hollywood, and I'm like, there's no way. This one I was more
Yeah.
nervous of. I'm like, there's no way that they want the lobster vodka. So I like was like, again, it's one bottle. We got nothing to lose, so we like wrapped it all up and like snuck it across the border to get to Hollywood. And then I never heard anything, so I emailed back and I was like, hey, like, did you guys use it? And she emailed me back a video clip of Mario Lopez. I'm like, oh my god,
That's so cool.
yeah.
Now I want to move into like the finance side. So, what's like one money mistake you wish you had learned earlier?
Yeah, I think for me, it's around mindset. I wish I learned earlier that it's okay to like, I mean, not all debt is good, but like to grow the business, not being afraid of taking the risk of maybe opening a loan or using a line of credit if possible. I think that really struggled with that when I needed to scale up. So like not in my first couple years. I mean, the first couple of years it was very much like whatever bottles I sold and the money we made went right back into the company, and I used that to grow. And it was very slow growth. I mean, I stayed in school the whole first 5 years of the business.
Yeah.
Um, but I think there became a point that like to get to the next level and like expand and scale, I really was nervous to like touch a line of credit or like use anything like that. Like I'm like, and I now I'm trying to like switch my mindset that like, to bring costs down, I gotta bring more in, and bringing more in at a
Right.
certain point, like sometimes I'm gonna be down, but it's like as long as I have a business plan and like a goal of where that's going, I feel comfortable with that. But I do think that like I struggled with that for a while of like what risk to take financially, to get to the next level.
Did you work with like advisors on the financial side with like a tax accountant, a CFO? What did that look like?
Yeah. So like me personally, like when I started the business, like the two subjects that I hate the most is like accounting and finance. Um, so like I knew that if I was going to make this business a thing, that is one of my weaknesses. So I my first hire was an accountant, and then a bookkeeper.
Wow,
Um,
that's awesome.
yeah, and I needed it. Like I knew there was no way that I was going to be able, like the creativity side and the people side. I enjoy that. And don't get me wrong, like I look at my numbers every day. But I needed somebody that could like provide those to me or stay kind of accountable for me. Um,
Right.
in a sense. So the first hire I had was my chartered accountant who actually helped me decide to buy my partner's out of the business when I sold it in the early days, sold a percentage of it. And then from there, I got a account that just works on like all of my like daily invoices, like everything like that, transactions. And then I needed a bookkeeper too because for me, I was too tied up with trying to connect receipts and things like that. I needed someone that could kind of like stay on top of it more. So those were three like really big priorities for me. I mean, in the early days, like I was paying accountants and bookkeepers before I like was physically paying myself. And like luckily for me in the beginning days, like I had them to set me up with like dividends and how to
Mhm.
pay myself and all this stuff. But like those two roles were huge for me. Um, I think I hired my accountant before I even hired staff.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
such an important key.
Yeah, and I feel really I mean, it's been 6 years, and I have the same chartered accountant, the same bookkeeper, the same accountant. So
That's
I'm really,
amazing.
really lucky. Like I've been able to build it to a point that like I can talk to them about anything. And I think when you ask the question, like, what was one of the first mistakes you might have made in regards to finance and money, um, it was in the early days. I didn't think it was that important to build a relationship with a banker or an
Right.
accountant. Like, I'm like, "Oh, I'm just being really annoying, like, I don't need to email him." And, like,
Yeah.
finally realizing that, like, those relationships mean so much, and, like, I used to have it in my head that, like, "Oh, I can't go to them until I'm, like, a multi-million-dollar company, like, they don't wanna listen to me." But, like,
Right.
building those relationships from such an early time helps so much that when, like, I need to open something to expand or I'm looking at different credit card option or whatever it may be, like, I think I made the mistake in the early days of being like, "Oh, I'm just annoying my banker, like, it doesn't matter, he has so many people." But, like, building those relationships and, like, to even just, like, dropping in a line like, "Hey, business has been really good, I hope you have a great Easter." Like, I found, like, starting to do that more has helped a lot in, like, keeping those good relationships, especially in the finance world.
Totally. And as your business grows and evolves, you know that
Yeah,
those advisors have your best interest at heart.
100%, yeah.
How do you keep up with like demand and like cash flow and being able to sustain like your workers?
Um, so like we're still, I mean, I think the biggest thing we did to be able to keep up with that is like I didn't grow too big too fast. And
Mhm.
there's times that like that adrenaline or addiction to like scale really fast when things were moving so fast, it was hard to reel back in because like I mean as an entrepreneur you're like I need to go out and do everything and like be all over the
Right.
uh, and I think there was two things that really kept me back. One of them, and like at the time I hated it, but school, it forced me to kind of not go and do everything all at once because I made a promise to my parents that I would graduate university. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't go and do everything if I still need to get this degree. And in hindsight, that really kept me like a lot more focused in the things that I needed to do to grow the business at the time and not just go and try to do everything. So I think how I manage um, cash flow and budget is, and it all comes down to my business plan. I mean, like I'm constantly evaluating like where we want to go, what budget, like budgets and business plans month by month, to continue to grow Black Harbor. And I mean that's adjusted all the time due to like
Right.
would have thought lobster vodka would take off, but like continuing to go back to my original business plan and like when I look at it, I've changed it so much but like the core values are still there. Like I wanted to build a community that people were proud to be a part of. I wanted it to be a welcoming space that anybody could feel welcomed into. And I wanted to grow the brand with unique stories behind every bottle. So like it always comes back to that. But I think when you're busy in it and you're growing, you don't always remember that. But I think going back to that business plan has really helped me manage, okay, like this is my goal, my 5-year goal plan. What am I
Right.
doing day by day to make sure that still occurs?
That's so inspiring because a lot of entrepreneurs, they want to grow and scale so quick, but they don't have that like financial systems or like the foundation actually built up. So they end up like burnt out and then they end up like just ruining and burning out like their whole business.
And I think that like I mean like there are like times where you just want to like go for everything or like I think for me even learning like with all these new opportunities like there's almost this guilt of like oh my god I don't want to miss out on a different opportunity. But I
Right.
think when I go back to my business plan, I want for me a big goal of mine is like I want to make sure it still stays this community business and that's huge in my like core values and my business plan that like it stays this like community felt business. So I think that kind of like when things start to get crazy and I try to go everywhere, I kind of just reel it back in of like, but that takes like that's not just me. Like I have family support and friends that I can like lean on to like ramble to. I
Right.
really built like a network with other entrepreneurs to kind of like throw all this like stuff at and then kind of reel it back into like keeping me accountable of what I really need to do. So I think it takes a really strong support system to kind of like keep me focused sometimes.
That's so great to hear. Could you share more about like how you delegate and like keep yourself grounded? Because as like a founder, you probably have so many like fires to put out, so much going on. Like how do you really structure and be intentional with like your day and your time?
I try to start every morning off by meditation. And I started that last year, and I think it's just really helped to like start my day. Um, and like for me, there's like things like I need to get some of my personal goals done earlier in the day so that I can be like the best leader at work. So for me,
Right.
that's like walking my dogs, meditation, journaling. I've been trying to do. I could do better. I've been trying to do better journaling like every morning and night just to have like those pillars like something in the morning that like starts my day and then something at night to like finish my day I find helps a lot instead of like because I mean there are some days where you're up till like 3 in the morning trying to like finish things off
Right.
um but I think for me the biggest thing is learning like what my role is so for me like one of my biggest proudest moments while running the business is like building a team that is proud of Black Harbor too. Like I don't want it to just be me. I want to build a
Yeah.
team that wants to like continue this experience of Black Harbor. Um so I feel like it took me a while because I did struggle at first with like if I'm not doing everything, like what am I supposed to be doing? And like
Yeah.
it's such a journey. what am I gonna do if he's doing all the schedule and the pay and the like all that stuff? So I think like, and again, I feel like I always bring it back to like a business plan or goals, but I'm like really big on to-do lists and goals. And I find like every day I write out like what needs to be done for the day. And then now that I have a team where I have a manager and employees that can do other things, I try to figure out like, okay, what is it that's like super important for me to do and what can they do?
Right.
And that's been a big thing. Like it wasn't easy at first. Like when I hired my first manager, like I tried to like do everything in the background so that in case something failed, like I still had control of it in a sense. And I've been learning this year, like they they know more when I step back. Like I always say when I go on vacation, like that is when everybody is the best employees ever because I'm not there. And I think like I'm trying to build a team and I know I'm like we've put in so much work that I'm proud of. Like they can go out there and do it. And I think just giving them the opportunity to like fail and learn is better than me kind of being around. So I think like for me, learning that was just like I think learning that like I'm okay when I fail and like letting everyone else know that like that's the environment. Like as long as they're trying to do something, I don't that's more than enough. Like everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know if
What
that
was
answers, like I kind of went on a little bit of a
No, that's such a great answer. Another thing I wanted to ask was how was it like hiring people? Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs, there's that scarcity kind of mindset. Like if I hire, I'm giving away cash flow. But how does that help with like your growth mindset? Because like you have to hire
yeah.
to delegate to end up like growing and scaling.
I if I didn't hire Black Harbor wouldn't be here today. I mean like I think in our heads we think like like oh my god we can do this all on our own and like
Right.
I grew up playing sports like I knew from a like young age that like to build the best team you needed like certain players that were the leaders, certain players that like inspired and things like that. And I always like grew up knowing I wanted to lead in some way. Like I didn't want to start a company where it was just me and I was like the one that did everything and it all went through.
Right.
That was never something I wanted. So I think in that aspect, I was very attracted to wanting to build that team. Like that was one of my main focuses is like I want to build this that I'm employing people in the community. Like I'm giving them a job that they're not only proud of, but like they want to come to work to. So in
Hmm.
the sense of that, that was never like a holdup for me. And I knew like given the industry we're in, like I mean there's bottling, there's making the liquor, there's labeling, there's serving, there is like putting on events. There's so much that goes into it all here that like I knew it would never be able to be done by one person. Um,
Right.
and I think like the biggest I believe the biggest thing that has changed to like allow me to have a team that like really represents what I want for Black Harbor is I've been so focused and like it's so important to me of team building. So like once a month all of our staff get together and we do something that's like not work related. We either go to a restaurant together, we go for a hike, we do something around Hubbard's. Like we every month I make sure our team comes together and we usually post that on social media like, hey, Black Harbor team was out for lobster Caesars today. Um
Wow.
and I've noticed that from like being like very like team oriented and like showing it through our social media until last week was my first time I ever actually posted that we're hiring.
Yeah.
um, every other person we've hired here, and like we've had a pretty big team here. Like right now, there's 7 of us. In the summer, we had 12. It's all been through like, hey, I saw on social media this looks like a place that like you guys really have fun and work hard. Like I want to drop off a resume. Like we never had to post for
Wow.
hiring. It just kind of came to us, which is beyond lucky. But through the
That's
6 years,
awesome.
I do believe I didn't have to advertise that we're posting or hiring because I think our brand and the core values of like what happens here at work kind of shine through on social media and that helped me a lot.
That's awesome. Because usually people have a hard time like finding the right type of people.
Yeah, and I mean like and it's not been all like we've had people that have not fit here but I think we're like off the bat I focus so much on like this is a job for people that want to be like talking with their coworkers, working in a team environment, independent enough that like you have your own responsibilities, but like really like, and we not everyone has fit here. Like we've had people that did not fit here and they've had to leave, and they're great people, but I find like because we're so out there with like our staff are on our Instagram reels and making the drinks and we're showing them bottling. I think people are
Yeah.
kind of getting a sense so that when they are dropping off their resume, it's like um they know kind of what they're getting into. And a lot of
Right.
times like my first interview with a new staff member is typically like very not conventional in the sense of like usually I bring them in and I give them a tour of the space and I'm like, this is like what we're looking for in a person. This is what we expect. If you still feel like that you're interested in that, then like we'll read through your resume. But like I mean,
Right.
like I've gone to interviews where I had no idea what I was signing up for.
Yeah. So
I just
true.
like answered the questions the best I could and like hoped for the job. And I think sometimes people like expect that, but I'm like, no, I want to first show you exactly what you're getting into before you actually hand me your resume because I want to make sure like this is like it's not it's gonna work both ways. Like I find for me at least the best staff I have are the ones that like want to show up for work and like it. So trying to like share that at the beginning of like trying to get people has helped a lot of like because I mean we've had some people that have like dropped off resumes and then I'm like, okay, so this is what we do. This is and it's like, oh no, this is not what I
Not for
expect.
them.
So it helps kind of like narrow down those candidates.
That's so key and so important. That's such a good idea. What advice would you give like another entrepreneur that isn't looking at their numbers, they want to grow and scale, they have the big dreams, but their actions are the complete opposite?
Mm. Well, I always say like I feel like anybody can have ideas and like um yeah, ideas of what they want to do, but I mean it takes a special person to become an entrepreneur that grows a company. Um, and I think that comes down to like the business plan. Like, I mean, yes, I did it as a class project, but like I wouldn't have been able to even get the permits,
Mhm.
um, or in the early stages, the like concepts and ideas if I didn't have like a solid business plan that was written by me. Um, and I think if you have that business plan and that idea, of course, with that business plan comes the number. Like you need to know your numbers to be able to grow to the next stage. And it sounds so cliche, like oh, know your numbers, but I mean, like you
Yeah.
can't scale to the next um level if you don't know your numbers and your goals to get to there. And I mean, there's financial and a business plan just helps so much. And like I've personally found, especially with AI now, I'm sure it's a lot easier to like put in your ideas and ask them to like start a template for you. But I know like BDC on their website has like a full template of like how to write your business plan, financial statements you need with your business plan. And like I came from an industry that I needed those to get permits and like I mean we're renewed every 2 years, so I kind of have to stay on top of that.
Yeah.
But like additionally, those business plans and me going in and knowing my numbers every day has helped me stay aligned with like where I want to go. And I don't think I would have been all over the place and we talked about like trying to reach for everything. I think having the numbers don't lie, so having those there in front of you allows you to kind of see like where you can put your time or where you should focus. And that's been huge for me.
Thanks so much for sharing that. What's next for like Black Harbor?
Um, I think for us, like we just got into the liquor stores last year, like here in the province. So I'm looking to expand into more Atlantic Canadian markets first, just to kind of get them down pat. So getting into a couple more liquor stores is a huge goal of mine over the next year. And then I think down the road, looking at 5 years, I want to continue to grow our market out towards Canada and really just focus on being like a Canadian household name in the sense of alcohol, especially when you're thinking of like creative products. And I want to continue to build the brand and the story with it across Canada so that people feel proud about what they're drinking. I think there's so many options on the market, so many
Right.
great options, and so many cool stories. And I want this to be another one that kind of allows Canadians to be proud of what they're drinking.
That's so inspiring, Jamie. What is the best way for our audience to connect with you or even buy Black Harbour products?
Yeah, so you can go directly to our website. We have all of our products, and we ship across Canada with Canada Post and UPS right now. And we'll soon have all of our merch and other offerings on the website very soon, especially for the holidays. And to connect with me, I love connecting with other entrepreneurs, especially female entrepreneurs. And if there's any ways to collaborate or just help each other, you can reach out directly to the Black Harbour Instagram, Facebook, email, and it'll either go to myself or the manager, but he always sends everything my way. So I get to at least see everything, which is nice. It's not a big
Yeah,
team.
and I want to say Jamie is super responsive. Like I emailed you and like you responded right away.
I like making sure I get to everybody. I keep my inbox very clean.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jamie, for joining me on her profit era. I will share all her details in the show notes. Thanks.
Thank you.